Assalamu alaikum and hello everyone. Welcome to Justice for All Now. This is your host, Hannah Zuberi. You're watching us on Muslim Network TV, America's only Muslim-focused TV channel. You can watch Muslim Network TV on Apple TV, Roku TV, Galaxy 19 satellite, Amazon Fire TV, and various social media networks. Today we're going to be talking about leveling the landscape for Muslim women post-divorce, one degree at a time. Post-divorce stigma is very real in the Muslim community. Many women are left financially devastated post-divorce. So today we're going to be talking to two grassroots activists, social worker, on how they're changing that landscape for divorced and widowed women in the United States. My guests today are Sumaya Ghariani. She's the Executive Director of Ikram Foundation for the Empowerment of Muslim Women. She graduated from the George Mason University and has experience in nonprofit management, has done courses and certificates from Georgetown University, alhamdulillah, and we are really, really happy to have her here, Sumaya.
Thank you for having me, Hannah. I'm so happy to be with you today.
Our other guest is Saman Qureshi. Saman is the programs director at Ikram Foundation. She received her bachelor's at the University of North Florida in communications and is currently pursuing her degree in social work and conflict analysis. And Sumaya and Saman are both active in their Northern Virginia DMV DC Metro community. So thank you so much for being here to the two of you. And I want to get to know you a little bit better, get to have our audience get to know you better. So tell me how, and we're going to talk about Ikram Foundation in a bit and the amazing work that you all do there. But tell me how about both of, I want to talk to you both about how you got involved in women's rights work, especially addressing the stigma of divorce.
Assalamu alaikum. I just wanted to thank you for having me on the program, Hannah. So I'll go ahead and start, and I'll just say that I have actually, because of my own personal experiences, I am a single mother, and I have gone through a divorce. And ever since my divorce, I have been involved with Ikram Foundation, first as a volunteer. I'm also a beneficiary of the program, and I am currently also the program director. So I really began my activism as my own life experiences were unfolding, and I was navigating many different situations, organizations, crossing paths with many other women, really actively seeking and searching out the answers to my own questions. And that's what led me to being in this field and to further pursuing my education, thanks to Ikram Foundation, to continue to be an advocate for Muslim women.
And Sumaya.
Sure. So I actually started my journey in the nonprofit world back while I was in college at George Mason. So I started working out at a small nonprofit organization called Faith Social Services. And I credit that experience for really getting hands-on with nonprofit grassroots work in the Muslim community. After 6 years with Faith, I was then called upon the role of executive director with Ikram Foundation. And it was really my cumulative experience in the field. So rather than it being a personal experience, I was able to work with so many women who have gone through divorce or were widows. And I've been with Ikram for 4 years. And I really love working with someone, learning from her personal experience and learning from our clients. We like to be very client-centered. And what's great about this work is that when you put the clients in the center of your work, you learn as you go, and you really learn about the struggles that they've gone through, really learn about when we level the playing field for Muslim women in our community, they excel, and as a community, we grow stronger. So I've found my passion in this work because it's client-centered. We're always learning, we're always renewing that passion and that intention to stay involved in this work and see the fruit of our work in our clients.
So let's watch a short video about Ikram Foundation to learn more about your work. And and really get to see what all you guys have accomplished in the past few years that you've been around.
This organization gave me the self-confidence, and today I'm so proud of myself and with you guys.
Ikram has given me the strength and the passion.
I think the Ikram Foundation is filling a huge gap. I don't think there's any other organization that is targeting divorced or widowed Muslim women and empowering them with education.
I have to find myself because what I want. And subhanAllah, when I went to the program as a massage therapist to get my certification, I need somebody to pay one of the portion. That portion is giving me a push.
So wonderful about Ikram is it empowers them to empower themselves, to help themselves by giving them grants to get a better education so that they can take care of themselves and take care of their families.
Ikram is an organization really have filled a niche. They're going to do business that of helping a particular group of people in our community.
30 years ago, when I was in the same situation, my husband suddenly died and I was left with 2 children and college. So all 3 of us went to college at the same time. And thank God, Allah's blessing that we all succeeded, but it wasn't easy. And there were some scholarships from school, but this is just
Yes, subhanAllah, so many women helped through this program that you all are running. So tell us, when did you all start? What was the initial goal of the organization? How did it start?
Sure. So we started back in 2014. So we're 6 years young and 6 years strong, alhamdulillah. Since then, we've graduated over 70 women and provided grants for over $300,000 worth of grants for women. And Ikram Foundation really started as an idea from our chairperson and founder, Dr. Ilham Al-Talib, who is a revered community member and scholar in our community. And she really saw the need to address this specific demographic. Because what happens with divorced and widowed Muslim women is that they fall through the cracks time and time again when it comes to providing donations to certain groups of individuals, those that are struggling on different levels financially. Of course, they don't always meet some of the criteria when it comes to receiving assistance. And so she saw that time and time again, and she knew that education really is that cornerstone of justice and equality for women, specifically divorced and widowed Muslim women. And this was what was going to allow them to be on that level playing field and really succeed. So investing in their well-being on a long-term goal. And so that's how we started with the idea of Dr. Ilham Al-Talib. She was the founding member. And we also had our first executive director, Sister Iman al-Shingiti, Allah yarhamha. She came to Dr. Ilham Al-Talib after going back to school, after turning 60 years old, having 2 grown children. She decided to go back, receive her bachelor's degree, and then pursue her master's in social work. And after pursuing her master's in social work, she was having some trouble finding a job, and she met up with Dr. Ilham, and Ikram was born from that conversation. So Sister Iman al-Shingiti laid all the groundwork to create an organization that's so unique, that invested in the well-being of Muslim women that are divorced and widowed in our community. She laid that groundwork for us, and we carry on her legacy as unfortunately 6 months after she did pass away, Allah yarhamha. So we carry this work with pride, with Sister Iman's legacy in mind. And after her, we had another wonderful executive director, Mariam Azimi, who also came on board and was an experienced community member when it came to supporting specifically divorced women. So you see time and time again, Ikram really centers clients. Everyone that's worked for Ikram has either experienced it personally, or there's only so many degrees of separation nowadays. We all know somebody who's divorced or widowed. And so we're really using their experiences to fuel the work that we do. So that was 6 years ago, and this is where we are, where we're here today.
And I can, when I look at personally my family, I see my mother-in-law. She came here in the 70s, and as a 20-year-old widow, she was pregnant with her second child, and had my husband with her, and he was a year old. And at that time, the only people that she had to lean on were her brothers. And a lot of women aren't so lucky. They don't have family here, especially in the Northern Virginia area where you all operate. We have a very large amount of immigrant community members as well as refugees. So what is the demographic that you cater to, and how do clients find you, and how do you find clients?
Sure. So our demographic is very diverse. We cater to, as you mentioned, Hannah, we're located in Northern Virginia, Herndon, Virginia to be exact, but we serve women nationally. So our clients range from all across the United States. We have the bulk of our clients here in the DMV area. However, we do have clients located from California, Texas, Arizona, and Georgia, all across the country. And we started really word of mouth, and that's kind of been our goal. We focus on an organic growth pattern. So as word of mouth came out, as more individuals were learning about us, we were getting referrals in for clients. We do have clients that are, were refugees and came into this country as refugees, but we do only serve citizens, or you have an A number or a green card. Due to our 501c3 nonprofit status, we are limited in the sense of who we can serve. However, we are an organization that looks at a holistic approach when it comes to serving women. So we take all calls. We try to network with other organizations, partner organizations in the area and across the country to see how we can really plug in different resources for the women that call us. Because again, this is really a collective effort. And as you mentioned, when your mother-in-law came in as a widow, she had her family, but a lot of our clients don't have family. We see cases, whether it's refugees coming to a new area. We also know that when a woman is divorced, a lot of times she can't go back to the community that she was a part of. She really has to uproot herself from that community, enter a new community, and find herself alone, and not be able to rely on new members of the community. So we're really trying to create a sense of community with Ikram. We call ourselves an Ikram family, so we can let women know that they have a resource in us, and we will try our best to network with them and other organizations to connect them to all the needs that they have.
Sure. And Semin, you have been a client as well as the program director for Ikram. What was your experience like being a client?
I think I say this with a lot of pride, and it's really been reflective of many of clients' experiences. The process was so easy. It was so welcoming. I felt so surprised when I put in my application and, I was told that I was accepted into the program, because for so long, divorced and widowed women have had to jump through so many different hoops and really try. When you go to different organizations, we hear that women have to, keep coming back, keep knocking doors, keep trying to prove that they're worthy or that they deserve certain things. But at Ikram, it continued to facilitate this kind of experience for clients. It's a very open door policy. We work with clients, and we really are honored when clients come to us with their journeys and their stories. And that's exactly how I felt. And I'm proud to keep that tradition alive.
When you hear some of these stories and you expect the Muslim community to step up, right? But a lot of times there are questions that people start asking there because of the stigma. It's and people don't realize some of the laws of this country work really don't really work in favor of the woman, especially in divorce cases. And a lot of times women spend majority of their time taking care, especially in the Muslim community, taking care of the home, taking care of the children at the expense of their own education or their own savings. So when they are unexpectedly without the support of a man in that in that relationship, there's so many hardships that they go through. So if you let's talk a little bit about that. What in your experiences, what are some of the hardships that I really want our audience to understand, that this is a terrible need. It's not there would be no need for Ikram Foundation if there was not this need and the hurdles that women have to cross. So let's talk a little bit about that.
So I'll just jump in real quick and say that there's so many parts of the journey of, specifically for a divorced woman, because it also involves, of course, there's the emotional aspect of it. There's also then the legal process of it, which is a very long, treacherous, and expensive road. And then there's also the post-divorce, if the woman has children, then the co-parenting process. Many of our clients are survivors of domestic abuse, and there's a lot of trauma that comes when you go through these experiences. So Ikram is just one organization and such a necessary organization, but this is where we really need the community to center around divorced and widowed Muslim women and really uplift this population and not only recognize it, because what we're trying to do is even just the basic aspect, and what you're doing by inviting us onto the program is by giving us a platform to raise these issues. But in our community, there's so much minimization and so much erasure of our population. So yes, we need community support so much for this work, but we also need community awareness that it doesn't just stop here. There's a whole range of programs needed for this organization.
True. A lot. I have a friend who is like, now I'm shut out of the community scene. I'm not invited to parties anymore. That whole support system that I had isn't there anymore. I might have a few friends that I talk to, but that entire, like that couple scene where everybody gets together and has a party on the weekend, and that isn't there anymore. People have to take sides. Especially close family friends. So it affects every aspect of a person's life. Sumaya, you were saying.
Yeah, no, I will just piggyback on what someone said. A lot of times people say, well, what kind of supports do divorced and widowed Muslim women need? And there's not one answer. They really need an array of different types of support. It comes from emotional, mental, spiritual, financial. And what we do at Ikram is just that financial piece when it comes to education, because we know that there is a high return on investment for the likelihood of the woman to succeed later on. But even with that piece, a lot of times what we do at Ikram can be seen as such a linear process. But there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes because of all the different levels of support women need. And what we need to understand too is that not only are a lot of our clients survivors of domestic violence, but a lot of them are single mothers. And single mothers have, children that range from a wide array of ages. There's little boys and little girls, or they're older or younger, and they're seeing that they are also being shunned out of the community. So we really need to step up, as someone said, to address that point of erasure for divorced and widowed women in our community, create safe spaces for our women to feel welcomed, to feel that they belong. A sense of belonging is a really big piece, because we're really rebuilding a lot of the damage that's been caused after a woman has gone through such an experience. And it's a collective role for all of us to play when it comes to supporting this specific population. And so that's why, again, we're trying to target this from just one aspect, but we're talking about this issue amongst one another. And Ikram Foundation did do a video series. And the question we asked to our panelists was, what is the role of community when it comes to divorced and widowed Muslim women? And you can find that video series on our Facebook as well as on our Instagram page. But we asked a lot of different women who, from personal experiences, can speak to the role of community as a whole. So again, this is really a collective effort when it comes to supporting divorced and widowed Muslim women. Everybody can play a different role. I really suggest everyone to watch that video series to see how you can be an ally, how you can create a sense of community around these women and their children, because we're all leading by example. And when we invest in this population specifically, we really build stronger communities for the future.
So, for example, the ISPU Healthy Families report notes that divorce rates in the U.S. are decreasing since reaching a peak in the 80s. However, in the Muslim community, rates are on the rise. We were looking at divorce lawyers' websites, Muslim divorce lawyers' websites, and one of them makes this statement, and I want to know if you all agree, both of you, in your experience, if you agree with this statement. Divorce has become even less stigmatized within Muslim immigrant communities as more people recognize that divorce can be the best option to lead a healthy and meaningful life. So do you agree with his statement?
I don't. I think there's a long, long road ahead of us. Is that the goal, that we want to destigmatize it and allow for a space to have these conversations? Absolutely. But I don't think, from my observations and my own personal experiences, I don't think that we're there yet.
Yeah, we see it time and time again, just to piggyback on what Semen said. And again, as we mentioned, we are very client-centered. So we are hearing firsthand from the clients their experience when it comes to this piece. And we're still fighting that. I think we do have a road to go. There has been some, transition. Even as once we started back in 2014, we were facing a lot of different issues or backlash from the community than we are now. But I think we do have some work to do when it comes to that piece. And our clients firsthand know that. And we hear from them, from their experiences.
And we can even bring it back to funding. We, as an organization, are continuously trying different ways to build up our funding so that we can help this demographic. But it's a lot harder for us to make a case for our population than, say, for someone just raising money for another cause. So there is still a lot of stigma around divorced and widowed Muslim women, a lot of victim blaming, a lot of questioning, still this thought of, why are we supporting people that are breaking up families? So there's still these big overarching ideas that people have about the population that we directly work with.
So we have a comment by Tony Banks, and he says, masjids used to be a place for everyone to get help and should go back to that. And imams should help people remarry, specifically in a country where families are hardly involved. And that's a very astute observation by Tony. And definitely, what are the roles of mosques in this?
I think that's a great comment. Sorry, Sam, to jump in here real quick, but part of the conversation we have with our clients as we do our casework and our intake work is, what has your journey been like? And a lot of times the role of the masajid is a complicated role. And we're seeing that a lot of our clients there's this chain where they're a lot of times getting passed from masjid to masjid, from either a social service organization that's within the community, and they really are playing this game where they're not really addressing their needs specifically, but rather not giving them a place. We're giving them, unfortunately, we have to say this, ill advice, and advice that is not, helpful for the situations that they're in. I know us personally, we're very, we try to work hand in hand with the local masajid that we have. We have a great team that we work with in our local masjid, but again, that doesn't mean that we're still needing to work to create, like Tony said, a sense of belonging in our masajid. So that's a really great comment that he said, and a good reminder for all of us about that sense of belonging. And rather than shunning women out, let's create a space for them and for their children to feel a sense of belonging.
I'd just like to add, about a week ago, we had a domestic violence virtual vigil, and one of the advocates on the call, she made a statement in saying that a lot of times, the divorced and widowed Muslim women they become victims of the community. And she was highlighting a specific case in which we did see just that, where a woman was going to agency to mosque, and her needs were not being met. She tried every way, the right way to do what she could. Unfortunately, she was, there was a tragic situation and she was murdered. But that becomes, that really resonated with me about the piece of victims of the community, because the community hasn't recognized that this population needs our help. They have not put together the organizations, the coordinated responses to help these women. And really then you're just kind of in a vacuum going from place to place, trying to get the needs that you need and your kids and plug yourself back into a community.
Exactly. I was just having a discussion with Zakia. She's an author, really well known in the Muslim community, and she's starting a new series on, and she has a new book out called I'm Divorced, or I'm Divorced Now. And she's just making that statement in the Muslim community is an act of resistance. It's an act of, because people want you to hide it. And when you hide it, then the needs that you or your family or children may have cannot be shared with others. If you just getting sharing on a local WhatsApp group that this has happened to me and now I need my sisters to step it up, that will not, that's the stigma. And I cannot imagine anyone doing that. Like when we are sick, we're okay with saying, I'm sick, I need a meal train, someone come get me, right? But when it's divorce, then it just becomes something that is, we do not talk about it. And so when you put this layer, like this blanket over just a marital status, then where do all the other needs get highlighted? Karen has has a comment on lack of understanding about domestic violence amongst well-meaning community members. Mm-hmm. And that's true too. A lot of times it's a lot of blaming on either side, and the role of, and I would say that even if a woman is not a victim of or a survivor of domestic violence, even then divorce is still such a stigma, and mm-hmm. and education is still such a need. And it's almost like, and what you all are doing is teaching them how to fish instead of giving them a fish. And our community still finds it easier to hand out a fish instead of doing the work of actually mm-hmm. investing in a human being, and helping them stand up on their. So how large are the grants? Are they enough to have help someone complete their degree? Do you help with job opportunities? So that's one of my questions. And then I do also want to talk about the support that you get from community organizations around where you are and around where the client is.
Sure. So our grants vary from case to case. We work holistically, but we also work case to case. We are a very case-to-case organization in our approach. The reason for that, again, is because our client base comes with a lot of layers of different needs, different trauma, different background. And so what we do is we take every case, they can apply to the website, and we call the client and we have a conversation around their needs, around where they are when it comes to the education piece, what they're looking for. And really our approach is to recruit the clients, retain them, because that's another piece that we have to work on, and then hopefully graduate them so that they can become gainfully employed. So we focus on the education piece, but the employment is the main goal for every client that comes through Ikram. So we work with them to see what they have in regards to degrees or certifications. A lot of times it might be even language. So we have to start with English courses just to be able to get them to have job interviews or be able to speak the language. So we're working a lot of times for some clients from that piece from the beginning there. Mm. Other clients have certifications. Sometimes they have a degree from back home. Other times they went to school here and it's rather just building up on that degree. So what we do is we offer a educational grant We don't call it a scholarship because scholarship is based on academic performance, and we don't look at academic performance. We're looking on the need. So we are a need-based grant. So we ask for tax returns when it comes to making sure that the need is there. And then we work with them to see what program is going to line up very nicely for them to ensure that they have gainful employment at the end of the road. ICRAM provides educational grants for bachelor's degree programs and for vocational programs. And we used to provide grants for master's programs when we first started. But now our focus has shifted to bachelor's degrees and vocational programs. And we really root for the vocational track because there's such a quick turnaround. So we're investing anywhere in a vocational program from $1,500 to $3,000. We get the client certified, and then we can ensure that they're getting gainful employment at the end of the road. Sometimes they're starting a bachelor's degree or they're halfway through, and we do our best to ensure that they can graduate with that. So you asked how long the grants last for. So we do a check-in with our clients semester by semester if it's a longer program than a vocational track, which is usually just a one-time payment. And we reassess the situation every semester, ask certain questions in regards to are they getting funding from other areas. We encourage our clients to get involved with other organizations or partner organizations so that we can help fill that need for the tuition funding. And we do our best to really try to see them through graduation because our goal is the employment. But because we work based on funds and donations that come in, it's never a guarantee, but our goal is to carry them for as long as possible so that they can graduate when it's a longer term program like a bachelor's program. And I think we have our launch kit. We had our launch kit up. So we are currently doing our end of year appeal. So we have a goal of $5,000. We are on our track to that. So we do encourage everyone to support our launch kit campaign if you have the chance to do so. Every dollar counts. So we really do see, again, that return on investment when it comes to donating to ICRAM. And a lot of times, Hina, you mentioned when it comes to funding, what does that look like for us? And someone really highlighted that piece that we do find a lot of, I don't know if it's pushback or sometimes it's hard to really show how impactful a donation to ICRAM is. A lot of people think, well, education's expensive. How much if I just give, maybe a monthly donation or a smaller donation, how impactful will that be? And it's actually very impactful, and I'll tell you why. The reason for that is because out of your donation, I would say about 90% will go to the actual program when it comes to donating for the client. We are supported by a family foundation to help cover our overhead costs. So when we have donors give back to ICRAM, your return on investment is very high. Because we only have one program, your donation goes directly to that program, directly to the tuition of that student. And again, that will translate to them graduating from their programs. So you see a lot of different nonprofits that do wonderful work. They have multiple programs, multiple services that they provide. We have one program, one direct service that we provide, but various outcomes, right? So we're providing to a wide array of clients, different age levels, diverse backgrounds, single women, survivors of domestic violence. Again, our clients come with so much to give. And so giving back to an organization like ICRAM will really have an impact on the future generations to come. So I encourage you to do so.
We can't hear you, Hina. I think your mic has been muted.
That often happens to me. What the catchphrase of 2020? You're muted. I see this when someone first told me about ICRAM Foundation. This was what really the highlight of your program is the fact that it is long-term. It builds up a human being. It builds up their skills. It helps them really not just lean on charity for, and then so what you are doing. And then I want to ask you this: have you come to the point that yet where your clients become your donors? Right? That's when you've been successful, because either they want to give back and give that chance to another sister who's been through something similar, and that is where this is I've seen that experience in one other organization that I'm involved with. And it's just the best just the best feeling is that's what your success is when you're
Absolutely. And I just want to say, like, one of the things that the culture that we're really trying to implement is mentorship and giving back, and then this alumni program. So when you've gone through something and you've had the lived experience, and then you were able to do the hard work, go through, whether you were a widowed or divorced woman, go through the classes. Back in the day, we were trudging with our backpacks on campus. Now it's virtual. But then you can come back to the organization and the community that you were a part of that supported you and say, what is my purpose? What is my role? How can I give back?
Exactly.
And a lot of, whether it's financial donations, we have a lot of people are saying, okay, how can I help? What way can I help with resume? And sometimes we want to plug in our current clients with already graduated clients and say, hey, how about you jump on a call, help mentor them, give back, just that level of support and saying, I was there once, I did it, I know you can do it too.
Really, really powerful. And this is that sisterhood in action. So it's not just like words, that it's actually, and that's really, really, it's a beautiful aspect of your work. I wanted to know if you had any help from agencies or allies in the community that you're in. Is that part of the work, connecting the sisters to perhaps other resources that can also help?
Yeah, I'll jump in, Samaya. Okay, so, we don't do our work in a vacuum, and we can't, because that's just not the way things work. We have many clients that are still in transitional housing, or that, have just transitioned from shelter into their own housing, with many other needs. And so we are connected to local county agencies. We're connected to different mosques in the area, social service organizations. We're building a lot of new partnerships. Me and Samaya call 2020 the year of partnerships. And, answering to, again, the mentorship piece, there's an organization called Muslim Women Professionals Network. And so we're really trying to allow for our clients who may not know the navigation of what networking looks like. How do I, show up to this job fair and really market myself? Just because I have a degree doesn't mean that you have all the skills to be job ready and really sell yourself to a potential employer. So that's where our community partners, such as Muslim Women Professional Networks, other local groups that we work for, many others. Samaya, please feel free to jump in. But that's where we get to expand, since we have such a singular mission. It's such a strong but powerful mission, but we need the support of many other organizations to carry this family to the point of being employed, and not only employed, but a living wage. That's really the goal, so that they leave the cycle of poverty.
Yeah. And just to piggyback on what someone said, and I think what a lot of people don't realize, we talked a lot today about the stigma, the shame, the belonging, creating safe spaces, but a lot of times our clients are either in the cycle of poverty or on the brink of poverty. So we're really tackling this issue of cyclical poverty when it comes to female-headed households. And a lot of times people don't realize female-headed households make up a high percentage of the homeless population. So we're taking clients from cyclical poverty or on the brink of poverty and elevating them to being able to earn a living wage. So naturally, we're partnering with a lot of county organizations, social services in Fairfax County, Loudoun County, again, the local counties that we're involved in. Sometimes we're working with shelters. A lot of times we're working with shelters when our clients are moving from transitional housing to being able to be in school at the same time, and then ideally be able to really be on their own 2 feet. So again, the goal here is to make our clients self-sufficient. Self-sufficiency is our goal. We have a holistic approach, and we choose education to be that cornerstone for that equality and justice, and to give them that level playing field. And then we partner with organizations, like someone said, that can answer and tackle a lot of the different needs, whether it's financial, whether it's resume building. A lot of our clients are moving from somebody, that was, a breadwinner. He was the one doing all of the work outside of the home. There's a culture shock involved. So having organizations that can help have mock interviews for our clients, teach them basic computer skills. We welcome any organizations that do any of that and are watching us today to reach out to us, because we really are trying to expand our network when it comes to tackling that holistic piece for divorced and widowed Muslim women.
And I really like that strategy, because a lot of times people try to develop or start it from scratch, and if that's not your core competency, and it's a bad use of resources, it's a bad use of donations to restart something that somebody's already doing. And so we're so much stronger when we build partnerships. And great, someone's interested in getting in touch. Awesome. And this is exactly where we have been lacking, I feel like, broadly in the Muslim community, is often at times because perhaps people want their logo on something or a stamp or something. It's just like, oh, we're trying to put stuff in our annual reports. I don't know. This nonprofit industrial complex is also extremely complex. And so I love this idea of that strategy where you have the partners, and then the partners do what's best for the client. And if you can just hand them off, and now you have really assisted a person from A to Z by doing this, instead of wasting time and precious resources trying to come up with something from scratch.
So I will shout out my wonderful executive director, Sumaya, who really drilled this in me in saying, we don't recreate the wheel. So we really stand by that. We don't recreate the wheel. There's many other organizations that have wonderfully developed programs that we can benefit from. So that's about building partnerships. And so yes, Henna, we totally agree with you. And we are not the type of organization that's competing with another organization. We want to build bridges because we are so client-centered. We care about our population, and we're deeply vested in continuing this work and helping more people.
Exactly. And I see that, and especially since we're such a small part of the larger community, right? We're only 2 to maximum 3% of the entire country's population. Mm-hmm. And to have it would be great to have each one of our organizations have these directories where you came to me for education, but now if you need a food bank, here's a food bank. And if you need clothes, here's a Muslim thrift store, things like that, like even in every community. And that's so empowering, I feel like. Even right now, when sometimes we're having discussions and people will ask, oh, can you give me a list of vetted mental health therapists? Because we don't want, CVE or any of those, so many of those, like, okay, here's a group that has developed a vetted mental health therapist list for the entire community, and now ICRAM can use it, and some other domestic violence agency can use it. And I feel like this is the strategy that the Muslim community across the country needs to adopt.
And I think I'll just echo that I think when you see female-headed organizations and nonprofits, I really do believe that you'll see the piece of more collaboration as opposed to competition, because we understand very instinctively how to build and not divide. So
you had to get that in there, didn't you?
I know.
Love it. MashaAllah. Anything else that you guys would want to share with the community about any insights based on your work? I know you've been doing it for a while, or just the nature of this work. It does, it's, how do people find you? That's another thing that I wanted to ask. Like, how did, you said word of mouth. We're sharing their ICRAM's website with you, and we're hoping to put this word out through the network. But how else what is another way for people to find you? Is there, and to find exactly what you do? So is there a video, YouTube channel, something of that sort that you have, some of the work that you, a link to maybe the video we showed, perhaps we can share that as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, one of the ways is by partnering with people like you who are uplifting what we do. We have our social media presence. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we have a YouTube channel, we have our website that you guys have been showcasing throughout the program. We have our local Herndon office, but as Sumaya mentioned, that we are a national organization, so we help clients nationally. And just to kind of answer your question about like last thoughts, I just think this work continuously humbles me and continuously makes me so grateful for the position that I am, not only because I've been able to grow in a personal capacity so much through the help of Ikram Foundation, but also because I'm being put back in a position that I can continuously work with amazing women who remind me of like the collective power of women in community and just the strength and resilience that we carry. I also feel really blessed to have the support of my colleague Sumaya and the board and the organizers of this entire venture that we have, because they really don't, at the end of the day, they care deeply about the population that we're serving, not how much revenue we're bringing in or what the goal stats we've reached, but it's about how much have we shown up for each client that day.
That's lovely. Sumaya?
Yeah, no, echoing what Saman said, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we're a very tiny team. So I'm the only full-time employee at ICRAM. Saman works with me part-time as my program director, and I'm so lucky to have her. She's also in school, and she's an amazing single mother, so I learn from her every day. We have a wonderful intern that comes with us when she can, when she's able to. So we're a really tiny team. We do everything we can to carry a client from that recruitment process, retaining them through the educational program and graduating them and creating, again, this beautiful circle of, we like to aim for philanthropy. We're creating future philanthropists, because a philanthropist is anybody who cares about a cause and gives back to it. And our clients are not only going through the process, finding out what the result is and how impactful it is for them and their children, but then also giving back and coming back to give back to them. And we encourage everybody to get involved. We share it on Facebook, our email. You'll also find our phone number on our website if you'd like to reach out to us. We're a very open door policy organization. We'd love to hear back if you have feedback on what we do, how we can refine our process, or if you have any expertise that you'd like to share with us. We welcome all of those efforts and feedback and suggestions. So we hope that you learned something new about ICRAM today and that you'd be willing to get involved. Please share our LaunchGood page, share the work that we do with your community, and join us in really trying to tackle what it means to invest in divorced widowed Muslim women and see how that can really create a future that's going to be a lot brighter for so many of us.
Exactly. As we know, our Muslim community, we don't have a Baitul Mal. This is the concept of a Baitul Mal. We have to modernize it so that can really work functionally for our organization. So I know December is coming up, lots of young people looking for internships, looking for volunteer opportunity. This is an organization that you can really put some time in and help them grow, because this, it really impacts people powerfully. Well, thank you both so much for your time and for being here. And we appreciate you all's work, and we hope to, those watching can also share in your work and get to know your work better. So for our audience, thank you so much for being here today. I just wanted to remind you all that our annual fundraiser is coming up. We usually would have it on the ground in different cities across the country, but this time we are going virtual. And so please register, www.justiceforall.org/ummah. We're going to be sharing the story of Justice for All with all of you. A lot of people ask me, hey, Sister Hannah, you used to work for Burma Task Force. Have you changed jobs? And no, I haven't changed jobs. Justice for All has always been the organization, the formal NGO behind all our wonderful projects from the Bosnia Task Force to save Uyghur and save India from fascism. We're a Muslim human rights organization. We've always put our projects in front, but it's about time Justice for All came out from behind the shadows. So please join us November 21st at noon CST, 1 p.m. EST, and we'll see you then, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.